Welcome to episode 344 of the Shared Security Podcast. And this week, we're going to talk about Telegram. And a reminder for everyone that it should not be classified as an encrypted messaging app. So maybe we rename it and call it a messaging app with a hard to turn on encryption feature. Maybe that's a better way to say it. And the reason I bring this up because Telegram's founder, Pavel Durov, was in France and he was arrested by French authorities. So we'll talk about all that drama and what does that mean for the not really encrypted messaging app called Telegram. And joining me this week is the always opinionated Kevin may have some opinions about these topics. The great Kevin Johnson.
The always opinion. I thought you were going to call me a Muppet. And
I mean, you are wearing that shirt, so I can call you a Muppet, apparently.
You can.
I like that shirt, by the way.
I really like the shirt.
You really like Muppets, is what you're wanting to say.
No, I do really like Muppets. Shit. I'm like,
I totally messed that up now. We got Muppets on the brain.
So it's a company called Roosevelt.
Okay.
With no vowels. And I made somebody really mad because I thought the word was results. And I'm like, it's RSVLTS or something. And I'm like, results. And they're like, that's not what it. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. And since having bought it, I bought a couple shirts, 2 shirts from them. And there was a shirt that they had. What they do is they get these shirts, they put them out, and they're like limited. They only sell them so much. And they had one that a good friend of mine wanted. And she was like, oh man, that'd be awesome. And I went to get it because I was ordering some shirts for me and it was sold out. And so I looked and I found out that they have a buy, sell, trade group on Facebook, whatever. And so I went to join it. You can't join it until you're part of an insider group, which is just another Facebook group. It's not something you pay for. And so I had to be a member of that for like 2 weeks before I get to the buy, sell. And so I joined it. And here's what I found from having been in their insider group for a few weeks and then their buy, sell, trade group for a few weeks is they're a cult. And
wow. Okay.
Oh my God. Look, it's an overpriced cool shirt. Okay. That's all it is. It's a shirt that I paid too much money on. I do think it's a cool shirt. It's comfortable. Like I said, I own like 4 of them now and every single one of them is awesome, right? Like I love it. It's got so many cool things on it, right? Whatever. But watching these people on Facebook, I expect at any time now that they're all going to buy tracksuits and Adidas shoes and drink some to meet asteroid aliens. And so they like, I don't know. I just cult-like behavior. And I posted on Facebook earlier today that I had said this during a webinar because I was on a webinar earlier today. And I've already had people reply to me going, yeah. Like, yes, yes, we are. And it was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. So if you hear me talking about Hail Bob comment, you know what happened. Which, talking about cults, and I know this isn't the topic of today, but I'm opinionated and you triggered it.
I did say that, yeah.
Have you watched the documentary? It's 4 episodes. Called, and I'm going to mess this up, LuLaRich.
No.
Okay.
I have not.
Watch it. I don't remember what it's on, Netflix or Peacock or whatever. One of the streaming services. It's called LuLaRich. It's about the LuLaRoe leggings company.
Oh.
And spoiler alert, they're a scam. But so and that's probably going to get me sued. But what they do is it's a multi-level marketing thing. And originally they've changed things, whatever, to not be shut down by the government. But you paid them $5,000 to $10,000 to become a retailer of these leggings and dresses and whatever. And basically you bought inventory.
Yeah.
They shipped you a box and you found out what you got. Like it was random or something. And it is a documentary about the couple that founded this company, watching it, and we all, the 2 of us watching it, agreed that they are absolutely evil and self-deluded, which means they're going to run for president next. But
possibly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Possibly.
Yeah. I mean,
Sorry.
I'll add it to the list. I mean, it sounds like Amway back in the 90s or 80s.
But worse
than Amway? Okay.
Worse.
Wow.
Yeah. Like it is just...
I'm going to check that out.
It was fascinating to watch. That, and I know I've talked about this one as well, but I watched it again this last weekend. Class Action Park. Have you watched that one yet?
No, have not seen that either. Wow. I'm behind the times.
It's a documentary about Action Park, which is a theme park. I hesitate to call it a theme park. Like a water park and rides and whatever. It's a theme park in New Jersey in the 80s. People died at this theme park. And let me be very clear. If you watch the documentary, the first 3/4 of it is just a train wreck. Like every single time that you think, oh my God, that is the worst possible thing, you realize there's another hour.
It gets worse.
It gets worse. Like it's just one boom, boom. And it's like, and they start with, I'll give you an example. They start with a water slide. This is the very first thing they talk about.
Oh no.
A water slide that does a complete loop.
This sounds like a bad idea. Yeah.
Oh, no. Doesn't sound like a bad enough idea. They put mannequins or dummies down it, and they got to the end basically disassembled. Like they broke. And so they're like, what do they do? Like, I don't know. Shut it down?
Send a human down it.
They decided instead, yes, they got the teenage staff members, and they paid them $100 each to ride the slide that broke the dummies, right? And like the first 3 or 4 people came down, and when they would do the loop, they would slap face first into the slide, right? And they would lose teeth, and they'd be bloody and all this kind of stuff. And they got to the end of the slide and got their $100. And so after the first 2 or 3, they sent more people down, and these people came down with lacerations covering their body. And what they realized was that the first 2 or 3 people had slammed their face into the mat. Like at the top of the loop, there's this padding. They busted teeth out, and the teeth were stuck in the padding. So the next few people were actually being bitten by the previous riders.
What? This is... Oh my gosh.
And let me be clear. That's the first thing they talk about. It gets worse.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Now I will warn you, people died at the park. Like people died in the wave pool, and in like they were in one ride. It was a water ride that somebody got electrocuted on and killed. But they get to like 3/4 of the way through the documentary, it switches and it's interviewing the family of one of the people that died. And that's very sad. And
sure.
Before that, up to that point, and it's a warning, because that like up to that point, it was just like, oh my God, how could somebody do? And then they would say something else like, oh my God, that's even worse. Oh my God. It just, dude, watch.
Okay. We will, and I'll have to link. I'll link those in the show notes for everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
So thank you everyone for listening today. But we covered some great documentaries for everybody. Wait, we got
real topics.
We have the actual topics.
Actual.
It was a good tangent. Actually, there is a security angle to creating water parks that kill people. So, I mean, totally. Yeah, totally. Are you still relying on outdated managed file transfer tools? In today's world, the security of your sensitive data is more critical than ever. Introducing Kiteworks, the most secure and modern managed file transfer platform available. Kiteworks is audited yearly and continuously monitored by certified third-party assessors. With an ongoing bounty program, regular penetration testing, and one-click appliance updates, Kiteworks minimizes vulnerabilities like no other. Many traditional MFT solutions can't compare to the level of security and functionality Kiteworks provides. But that's not all. Kiteworks offers a world-class secure file sharing and email platform. Easily send automated or ad hoc files through fully integrated shared folders and email. Administrators can manage policies in a unified console and create custom integrations with their comprehensive REST API. Step into the future of secure managed file transfer with Kiteworks. Visit kiteworks.com to get started. That's kiteworks.com to get started today. So Telegram, so that's been in the news lately. So if you don't know, Telegram is I'd say it's a more popular app with criminals at this point. It's kind of been a thing for people following the Ukrainian-Russian conflict, where it's widely used over in Eastern Europe, like that whole area of the world. There's a lot of articles. In fact, I linked one in the show notes from 404 Media, which they're a great just bunch of journalists that do some really good reporting. And they had talked about how Telegram is used by organized crime, for human trafficking, drug deals. I mean, you name it, right? And of course, I'm sure there's other basic standard uses, just like you would with any messaging app. But the reason it's been in the news lately is because Pavel Durov, who's the co-founder of Telegram, he was actually arrested by French police because apparently he refuses to put moderators in place for all the kind of illicit content that's been happening. And I don't know if that's it sounds like that's against French law because he is a French citizen. I guess he has dual citizenship in a bunch of countries. And it sounds really complicated, but it's basically a little bit, but it's kind of caused okay, let's talk about Telegram because Pavel says that it's an encrypted messaging app, and a lot of the media also says that as well. But we just want to set the record straight that it has an encryption feature, which is basically called secret chats, which you have to enable for each chat that you make. So it's not something by default like Signal, right?
And the person you're enabling it with has to be online when you enable it.
Yes.
And there can only be one other person in the chat. It's
right.
I don't know. I am bothered because I've talked to many people that refer to Telegram. I keep calling it Telegraph. Telegram as a secure messaging system. And it's like, no. It's not. And I find it funny. I linked in the chat. The Bruce Schneier's blog has an article about the first cyber attack, which was an attack against the telegraph system. And I find it funny that we are talking about a tool that pretends to be encrypted and secure, and it's named after a message that was sent unencrypted across the wire, in the 1800s. I always find funny, right? Like, hey, what do we want to name our secure system?
Yeah, what do we call that?
Transparent. I don't know. I will also say that I find it absolutely hilarious that we all talk about this as being an unencrypted, horribly secure, not private system, and yet the dude was arrested in part because of cryptography. Right. I mean, but I'm going to claim a level of ignorance here that I'm not 100% sure about all of it. I've talked to a number of people about this. I've also been following people. I'm blanking. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I don't remember her name. She works for the EFF.
Oh,
I know you know who I mean. Well,
Eva,
why is the EFF
Eva
all over
Galperin?
This? Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I'm totally blanking on her name. And somebody replied to her on Twitter and was like, why is EFF not? This is something the EFF should be all over. And she's like, right now I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Really, because it really is such a mix of different things. Especially with, the Macron government having been voted out but not transferring power and all that. Yeah. That's all mixed.
There's weird stuff in France going on. Yeah.
Very weird stuff going on. And, not judging, we have Trump. We have a literal political system that is talking about chainsawing a whale's head off as part of the discussion about campaigning.
Why not? No.
Oh God. I don't know. I don't understand. And I've tried looking, and part of the problem is I don't speak or read French. I've tried looking. My understanding, and that's why I'm qualifying this with, I'm ignorant, I'm right, but my understanding is if you are deploying a system publicly in France and you're using encryption that your system designed, developed, whatever, or an encryption system that you built, that you have to have it approved somehow by the French government. And now there is some implications that means the French government has to be able to decrypt it. That I don't know if that's true, but that is implied heavily. So I could imagine, right? Signal, let's go to the system that we all think is better and secure and whatever. That Signal would not be able to be registered because they won't provide that backdoor or whatever. And so I'm curious about what that means. But my understanding is he was arrested for a number of reasons, a number of charges, but 3 of the charges are basically you did not register the encryption with the government. Hence, you're not allowed to use it. You continue to use it. And oh, by the way, it's being used for really, really bad stuff, CSAM and whatever, right? Which is, I personally believe that if you're involved in anything to do with CSAM, we should all be allowed to set you on fire. And then right before you die, we put you out and then set you on fire again. But
I actually agree with you, but yeah.
I just,
but it's interesting.
I think if we go back to the idea that this is a social media platform, which is really how it's used, right?
Exactly.
If we go back to the social media platform, I guess the question for me, the big question is, am I okay with a social media platform being held accountable for what happens across that social media platform if they do not edit it? Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I totally agree. If you're a social media platform that accepts input from the user and you approve it and post it or modify it and post it, absolutely you're responsible for what you post. And I know that French law is different than the US law and everything else like that. But I think the bigger question here is, are we okay with social media platforms being held accountable for what people post? And I lean toward no. Right? Yeah. And I think that the social media platform should be following the rules. Right? Whatever the law is in the country they live in or whatever, they should be following that. But I really don't like the idea. One, I don't like the idea of encryption being something governments can backdoor. We know that. We've talked about that. And I think that, and maybe this is my Second Amendment support showing, but I think that registering your encryption is the first step to backdooring your encryption. And maybe I'm exaggerating the threat. Maybe I'm, slippery sloping this or whatever, but that's my biggest issue is why is the government making me register my encryption? That I don't understand that.
Yeah, I think
if somebody can tell me why, like I'd love to hear, right?
I thought it was like that exports law going like way back where, because it's like proprietary to the country that it was created, you're essentially giving that to.
So we're still treating encryption
potential
as
enemy
ammunition.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I mean, that I don't know enough about it either, but that's kind of my basic understanding of kind of these import-export laws. But it's interesting. We'll see what happens. I also find it fascinating that Pavlov's girlfriend, who is a Instagram influencer, I don't know if you saw that thread on Twitter, but she was posting all these pictures of them hanging out like in these exotic places over the last several days before he was arrested.
Really?
And I think,
I missed that one.
I think that gave away to French authorities that he was where he was at, where, what he was doing, because he had his girlfriend just posting all over Instagram, all of his locations. So there's definitely something to be said about like using open source intelligence to find someone that maybe you need to arrest. I don't know.
Wait. Okay, so this entire story is full of
it's fascinating
in my mind.
Yeah.
So the founder of a quote unquote private messaging system was arrested due to the public postings by his influencer girlfriend.
Oh, it gets better. It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh man, we're gonna be following this story for a while.
Oh, totally. So.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, so unfortunately we have to cut this episode short. But
Sorry,
we'll pick up.
I talked too much.
No, it's totally fine. I think it was a great topic to talk about, and we give people something to watch, right?
Two
really good documentaries that I'm gonna have to watch now because especially that water park one. That
one is awesome. That one,
yeah.
Oh man,
that's on my list for sure. So.
Yeah.
But thank you everyone for listening. And until next time, stay safe, stay secure, and stay private.
Thanks for watching or listening to this episode. Be sure to subscribe wherever you like to listen to podcasts, follow us on X @SharedSec, and help support the podcast by joining our Patreon to get ad-free episodes, bonus content, and many more exclusive supporter-only benefits. Visit sharedsecurity.net/supporter for more details.